Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kiki and this is Island's True Crime, where we talk about the unheard true crime stories from the Caribbean. Today we're discussing the urban legend La Llorona de Lajas, Puerto Rico. Let's take a small trip to the island of Puerto Rico, exactly to the town of Lajas, known for the UFO alley and the beautiful beaches. They have a story that has been buried by the media and years. Many years have passed since we have heard from La Llorona here on the island. So I think it is time that we talk about it. La Llorona is a common urban legend of Latin America based on Catholic beliefs. It's a ghost that roams around bodies of water, lakes, or rivers, mourning, crying, or screaming, talking about her children, husband, or family. That's what La Llorona is. That's what she does. But what is La Llorona in Puerto Rico? Who was La Llorona? Let's find out on this episode. The term Llorona means the crier, but what it actually refers it's to a hitchhiker, a spirit that just climbs on your car while you're driving. Many have said that they have seen La Llorona in that bridge in Lajas, Puerto Rico, on the street 303 or Route 303. Route 303 is located in Lajas, Puerto Rico, actually in the neighborhood of Palmarejo, sector El Tendar. And many have said that they have seen or heard her ghostly apparition. People say she has climbed to their cars. Some say they have seen her throwing herself backwards on that bridge, falling to the ground, and they can even hear the sound when she falls. Others say that they have heard her laughing, calling for someone named Pablo. Others say that they just see her laughing, see her hiding, calling them to her so they can come to the other side with her. But who was La Llorona? La Llorona was a lady that was 25 years old when she passed. Her name was Wanda, and she had a car accident that was horrible. She was traveling, it is said, with her two sons, her husband, and her sister. And the car hit a wall, a concrete wall. Then that car flipped over the bridge's ledge and fell over the bridge. She is said to be the only one that passed that night. All her family members were treated for their wounds on the medical center in Sabana Grande, Puerto Rico, but she was attended on the hospital La Concepcion in San Germán. She was, as I told you, 25 years old, and that night she was at a party on Cabo Rojo, Puerto Rico. She used to work on the Haynes factory, and that's the story of La Llorona. They were traveling in an Isuzu truck of 1992, and all of that happened because they were just traveling on Route 303. They had an accident. She passed away. And that's how we, as a country, gained La Llorona. La Llorona, or the crier, is described as a thin, long-haired woman with her brown locks falling down her shoulders. Dressed in white, she roams the bridge on Route 303. She has been seen crying, smiling, screaming, calling for her dad, calling for her mom, and someone named Pablo. You may ask how we all know about La Llorona. Well, this is something that you're told when you're young, when you're a child, so you don't go out partying late at night. It's a tale that everyone tells you, so you stay at home and don't go out. Because it is said that if you go through that route at night after 12 a.m., you will find La Llorona. And La Llorona will climb on your car and you will have an accident. So it is something that we all have heard as kids when we were teenagers or a little bit older. But what happened with La Llorona? Why everyone stopped talking about her? Well, there was an investigation. Some people wanted to see La Llorona. And for some people, what I would say, it was almost 1,000 people who just stood there and made it a party. It is said that they even sold shirts. Yeah, t-shirts that said, I was here in La Llorona. They sold rosaries, they sold Catholic images, they sold everything. They had their little bins with food, they had drinks, they had everything. It was an actual party. Even police got involved and they had to put really big reflectors so they can see everyone there, because it is said that it was the perfect environment for things to happen. So a group decided to go and investigate the legend of La Llorona. And how did that started? Well, they found out about La Llorona from the same mayor of the town that invited them to investigate the phenomenon. When he invited them, everyone else in the town and around all the island knew that they were going to be there. So everyone gathered there, as I told you, like 1,000 people were there. And that's a really small space. So imagine all of that crowd looking for La Llorona. They investigated all the bridge. They took video. They took EMF. They took everything. But it was almost impossible to do a thorough job. They tried to do the best that they could, but the crowd wasn't letting them. They stayed there for a couple of days, trying to capture La Llorona on video, trying to see her, trying to communicate with her, to see what she wanted, and to see her so they can prove that La Llorona existed. Here you can see some of the footage from that day, from that investigation. The investigators were ghost hunters of Puerto Rico, and they did the best that they could with what they had. They even had the anthropologist Andrew Alvarez included on that group investigating La Llorona. They had filming crews communicate to them about that, including the movie White Noise. It was said, or it was, the biggest event on Lajas, Puerto Rico. It even made Lajas known around the world. Everyone wanted to come to Lajas to see La Llorona, to see her and her company. Yes, she roams around with someone else called the Dark One. It's a man dressed in black with a staff on his hands. And it is said that every time that you see La Llorona, you will see him behind her. So everyone wanted to see that. Everyone wanted to be part of that. But what happened? The investigation started in October 13, and the group of people included 15 people, even a medium that they have brought with them to help reach out to La Llorona.
Esta entidad lo ataca y empieza a arañarlo, y en plena cámara tú ves cuando lo aruña Y es una cosa espeluznante.
While investigating, a lot of weird things happened, including the medium was attacked. And as you can see on the video, he has scratches on his arms. 3 scratch marks. They even broke the arm or the sleeve, and he was bleeding from those scratches. You can see that he has lots of those running down his arm, and you will see that he also has the broken sleeve of his shirt and blood coming out of those scratches. He even got his face scratched, and as you can see, they had to take his shirt off to check out the scratches that he had on his arm. And you will also see the scratches that he got on his forehead. Lots of weird things happened. When this happened, one of the investigators was on his side, and he saw the medium contort in different spaces and places. His hands were contorting, his face was contorting, every bit of his body was contorting. When they realized that he was being scratched by something they couldn't see, they had to stop what they were doing to check on him, and they even turned off the night vision on their camera so they could see what happened to him. Here you can see the scratches on his face. He was all covered in scratches all around him. It was horrible. But why La Llorona isn't remembered or talked about in these days? Well, the media began to try to confront this group and make it look like it was a fraud. They had all of the publicity they could afford. They had programs, they have TV shows, they have everything saying that La Llorona was a myth, that La Llorona was a fraud. They even showed different interviews to some witnesses that said that that wasn't true, that that didn't happen, that they just wanted to make it look like there was something out there. But the investigation crew and the mayor, all of them had witnesses that said that they have seen La Llorona, that she has climbed onto their cars, that they have seen her walking, that they have heard her screams. There are many versions of this, but there's lots of witnesses that have seen La Llorona. So what happened? Why was the media making this disappear? Well, there are many theories, but one of them includes that her family didn't want her to be attached to La Llorona. So they asked the public and they asked the investigators to stop the investigation, to stop mentioning Wanda, because they didn't want Wanda to be La Llorona. So we don't know if the family wanted the investigators to stop and use the media to help them gain that. But what we do know is that we have heard about La Llorona for years, long before this investigation started and long after that investigation happened. People have said that they have seen her, that she is real, and that she is on that bridge. But all the programs had one thing in common. They brought lots of experts in the area saying that this wasn't real. They got witnesses. They had people that been saying that the investigators want everyone to say that they saw La Llorona, but they have been honest about it. That day, they did not see La Llorona. And they say it happened because of all the people that was there waiting for her to be seen, and also because La Llorona appears really late at night.
Falta de pruebas, relevo de culpa. Y eso es lo que estamos viendo en este programa. Yo tengo una persona más al teléfono que llama voluntariamente. Quiero saber quién es. Buenas noches. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
¿Quién nos habla?
Sí, Está hablando Alberto.
¿Alberto qué?
Alberto Ríos Camacho.
¿Qué sabe usted de esto, Alberto?
Bueno, mucho.
¿Usted está relacionado con qué aquí?
Bueno, yo estoy relacionado porque yo estuve ahí en el lugar cuando se estaba tomando los videos.
¿Usted es parte de estos muchachos?
No, yo no soy parte. Bueno, a mí me estaban prácticamente tratando de ponerme parte de esto.
¿Pero con quién está relacionado usted?
Bueno, yo no estoy relacionado con nadie. Yo estaba en el grupito, pero no conozco a ellos directamente. Estaban mandándome a decir que supuestamente dijera que estaban viendo apariciones allí. Y eso no se hace en pueblo de Puerto Rico. Eso es mentira, lo que ellos están haciendo.
O sea, usted nos confirma que hay un grupo que montó este espectáculo.
Eso es así, eso es así. Y yo, si tengo que ir ahí mismo, en vivo con usted mismo, después de la línea, y usted me quiere dar información, yo voy a ir. Hay que desmascarar a esta gente ya, porque esto es un vacilón.
¿A quién se le ocurrió esto en primera instancia, que usted sepa?
Bueno, el del chamaquito que llamó ahora diciendo, se están contradiciendo. Dicen que el video supuestamente lo destruye, el de él, pero después dice que lo da para otra persona adelante, que la cámara era de él, pero el video lo da para adelante. O sea, se está contradiciendo el Edward Camacho este.
¿Usted asegura que usted estuvo allí?
Eso es así. Están utilizando a las personas para que rieguen voz que están viendo allí fantasmas, cuando eso es mentira.
Bueno, gracias por llamarnos.
What are your thoughts on La Llorona? Was she a myth, a legend, or someone real that had a horrible accident and it is trapped in between the land of the living and the dead? Let me know in the comments what you think about this awesome, scary, and kind of true story. I know, as I had a sister that passed away more than 30 years ago, that I wouldn't want my sister to be called La Llorona. So I understand if the family, with the help of the media, tried to dissipate the memory or the thought of La Llorona. I would have done the same, recruiting everyone I could just to eliminate that legend. But that legend is still alive. People still talk about La Llorona. Kids are still scared of going out after 12 a.m. So what are your thoughts? Was Wanda real? Did she have an accident? Is she trapped? Or is she gone and at peace?